Hi everyone, many thanks for joining this webinar. I'm Warren Butler, Marketing Director here at Preact, and I'm joined by our pre-sales consultant, Martin Prosser. Today we'll be looking at a selection of the new features and improvements in the latest release wave for Microsoft Dynamics 365, which began rolling out at the start of October. The important word here is selection. If you've downloaded Microsoft's release plan or read about this update, you'll know there are hundreds of new features being introduced across the entire Dynamics stack as well as the Power Platform. In the time we have available today, we'll be mainly focusing on the sales and customer service modules, as well as touching on some updates to the field service and marketing apps. Although we are only scratching the surface in terms of the full set of changes in this release wave, we hope you'll find this a helpful overview demonstrating examples of features which you may have missed. Before we get started, a quick introduction to Preact. We are a Microsoft Gold partner, helping organizations implement and support Dynamics 365 across CRM apps and solutions built on the Microsoft Power Platform. Trading since 1993, today we support more than 10,000 Dynamics users across a variety of industry sectors. Preact is one of a few select partners to be named in Microsoft's inner circle for business applications, which has placed us in the top 1% of providers for the last 3 consecutive years. We've recently extended our services with the launch of a new e-learning platform to make it easier for users to access Dynamics training content. As well as including videos created by our trainers, these modules feature guided simulations, allowing users to immediately practice the main learning points. Training topics span multiple roles and skill levels, and we are planning to add new courses each month to help new users quickly get up to speed and enable everyone to easily increase Dynamics knowledge. Another resource that Preact has introduced is our growing catalogue of packaged solutions, which add more capabilities to Dynamics, fill some gaps in its functionality, and improve user experiences. Recent solutions have included a connector for DocuSign electronic documents, a multi-select lookup field, and embedded address capture, which uses address data provided by Locate, formerly Postcode Anywhere. Our Dynamics package solutions, as well as our e-learning academy, are both available to Preact managed service clients at no additional cost. If you're looking to do more with Dynamics 365, please do get in touch and we'll be delighted to discuss your plans and offer advice. Okay, before I hand over to Martin, let's take a look at some of the Release Wave 2 features that we'll be demonstrating today. These include an enhanced email experience with the ability to attach multiple files. Also, some improvements for PDF generation, which can now cover any entity and include a template preview. There are updates to merge and duplicate detection processes. We'll also take a look at how charts can be customized, which brings in capabilities to the unified interface previously seen in the legacy web client. There are several improvements to the record timeline and knowledge posts, which Martin will demonstrate. And in the field service application, we'll demonstrate examples of the inspections processes, which is now generally available. And we'll walk you through the new hierarchy structure for assets and locations. In our previous webinar, we demonstrated the Dynamics 365 marketing application. The latest release wave introduces a new customer journey canvas designer, and Martin will share some examples of how this can be used for campaign automation. And we'll also provide an overview of the new customer voice surveys application, which replaces Forms Pro. So let's get started. Over to you, Martin.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Warren. I think the first most notable change is how we flick between the different applications. So whereas in the sort of the ribbon at the top here before, we had lots of drop down shelves, we don't have any of those now. The only way you'd be able to get to different apps that you're licensed for is by clicking on the app name itself here. It will then show you a list of all of the apps that you're licensed for that you have security roles for. From within here, you can then just click straight into a different app, and then you can see it will load that app and the sitemap for that app. To go back, you simply click back in here. Providing you've got the right permissions, you can actually create additional apps in here that will, surface on a desktop or on a mobile as well if you need to, and then you can pin those. Equally, if you've got lots of apps and you need to search for something, you can start typing in here the name of the app, and then you can find it, and then you can click into it. So if I just go back in here to Sales Hub for now, and one of the first features is the enhanced email experience. So I'm just going to click over here into Jake Bowler's record. Just click on there. Where is he? Jake, right, there we go. So where in the past, release wave 1, they released the ability to, when we click on an email here, we get the little compose option down here on the right hand side. Great feature, means that you can compose an email, send it out of Dynamics without having to go away from what you were doing, and you can copy and paste information from the form in the background. Release wave 2, they've given us the ability to, if we've received an email in from a client and we've tracked the email into the database like this, from the timeline in Dynamics, we've got the ability to click reply all from within here. Obviously we can pop that out and look at the details as well if we need to. If we click reply all, for example, it then sets out the same compose window that we saw previous. Obviously it then sets it to be to the person that sent this originally. We've got original email chain in there. Of course, then you can start filling in, just like normal, inserting templates in here and filling this out. A couple of the additional features they've now also given us is when we want to attach an email. So we haven't got to save the email before we want to send it to attach an email. We can do that from the draft option here. Click new attachment, or we can click attach file at the top here, doesn't really matter. We click attach here. I'll just grab a couple of these things. You can see the extra feature in here. No idea what that is. Let's just grab that. Grab a couple of files in here. You could only ever attach one attachment previous. So again, part of this is allows you to do multiple attachments. Click OK on there. Now you can see all of the attachments will go against this email. And of course, if you've got some files that we can preview as well, we've got the preview option here. So instead of you having to then go away from the email again and go and find out what that image looks like or whatever, you can click on the little preview option, and it will then give you a preview into what you've actually just added. You can still download it from here as well if you need to. Adding all those in again, and then just click send, and then this will just go off, send it, providing this person has allowed me to send to them. So multiple attachments and the ability to preview those attachments, but also the capability to reply to the email from the timeline. Again, that's the enhanced email experience. Now we're just moving over. There's a couple of extra features they've added to the PDFs as well. So if I just flick over here, so the first thing to note about the PDFs is obviously in the past they first released it for Sales Hub and it was only available on quotes. Then they released it so you could do it for accounts, contacts, leads, quotes and orders. And now they've changed it whereby if we go into the back end, you can see in here we can turn on PDF generation for any entity. So the benefit of this is it can be for cases if we need to, or if we've got any custom entities like I have in here, you can go through and specify which entities you want this to exist on. It will just mean you're enabling the PDF option in the ribbon on each of these entities that you've specified here. If I click save on that, you can see that generates that. Once we've then done that, if we just go into quotes, there we go. What you've then got is a couple of extra controls. So whereby we've obviously had Word templates over here on the right hand side, it's not been great for the end user to know when they pick that what template that it is that they'll be attaching. So up here now, when we do export to PDF, part of the new control gives us a preview. So you can see it gives you all of the same Word templates that you would normally see down here on the left hand side, but it gives you a preview into what you're actually generating. So you can see if I change this, then the preview over here changes slightly. You can see there it is. Oh, okay, that's the one I want to use. Perfect. So we tick that. And then up here, we've got two options. We can save it to Dynamics, go into Dynamics, can go into SharePoint if you need to. You can download it automatically from here and then save it locally and do whatever you need to do with it. Or obviously if we do the email option here, like before, it then adds this straight away, generates that, converts it to PDF and adds that in here as the PDF. And of course, if you wanted to see the preview like we saw just now, then you can see the preview option on that as well. But it's basically packaging up something that you've got in here stored as a PDF off the back of those Word templates that the clients will be uploading already. And then we can just go send from here, and then we see that on the timeline as well. So yeah, nice extra control, certainly to enable that on custom controls. Custom entities is a great feature. And then they've made some enhancements to duplicate detection and how we merge as well. So if I just flick over here, you can see we've got a list of accounts. One of the first features are if you select more than one value yourself, you get the merge option in the ribbon like we've always had. When you now click on the merge option, instead of going through every single field and scrolling down, working out which ones are the values, you've got this option that says view fields with conflicting data. So you can see then it removes the amount of fields you need to go through. This would just be where there's a discrepancy, like you can see West Yorkshire versus Northumberland. Which value do we take? Then you've got this other option, merge records by choosing fields with data. So if it's got data in it, like these two, this is the primary record. If I can then select this as the primary record, then by turning this feature on, you can see here, if both records have data in the fields, the primary record is now selected. So if we selected that, then this being the primary, we click OK, then it will merge and it will take all the values from the primary source here. So that's one enhancement to the merging. And then if I go and create a brand new account, for example, like this, and I start filling in some details, and just call this test account, for example, like that, and I know the phone number is now going to be the same as one I've already got in the system. If I try and click save, this happens upon creation of a record, data imports as well, whereas previously it would only show us the account that we believe, this is the one that we're on, this is the record that we believe might be a duplicate based on your duplicate detection rules that you have set up in the system. If we now highlight this one, instead of just clicking ignore and save, because actually we just won't think, oh okay, that's already in there, we can click into it, ignore and save, go and view that record. But now we've got the option within this section as well to now merge. So like you just saw previously, we can click on the merge here, and then you go through the same scenario. So which is the master, which is the thingy, and we can then merge information across from this if we didn't want to just do ignore and save and then go back to that. And just cancel that off. And then if we just quickly go over across to here, you can see, I'll just show you a couple of enhancements to the way that they've done the charts. We can now export charts again. So we'll just click on cases. So a lot of people used to in the past, so you can see here, if I do case by owner, got a nice pie chart here. Obviously you can't decide the order of the colors. So over here Mark is yellow, Chris is down here, mine's orange. We've now got additional abilities in here to import and export these fetch queries that come off the back of this. So if we click export here, like previously, it used to just download some code, some fetch code that we can use like that. What it means is we can then manipulate, say, the color palette colors in here, or we can manipulate the size of the text and the labels. Previously a lot of clients used to do a lot of this and have their own corporate colors in here and have some nice fancy charts. So Microsoft have brought this back. Again, from here you can expand the chart out so it's showing a bit more space on the screen. We can assign these charts, so you can see we can assign this to somebody else. We can edit it from here and we can do save as and create a new copy of this. Or obviously once you've manipulated the data, you can just import one back in. Here's my one I prepared earlier with new colors. There you go. So it's the same chart, but I've just manipulated those palettes in the fetch query and imported that back in. I'll just click into one of these cases. You can see, just while we're in Customer Service Hub, they've made a few improvements to the timeline as well. So when a case agent is working a case, they've got lots of notes over a period of time against this case. It was never easy to search for a keyword and then find all of the corresponding information around that. So within the search timeline feature here, if we was to search for a value and click OK, you will see it now highlights any activities on the timeline where this word is present. So we can see there's a note here with the word printer. There's a call regarding the print. There's a phone call, and obviously then there was an email with Mark around printers as well. So enhancements to the timeline search features is one. When we add a note, again, it was quite key. In the last release, they enabled us to have rich text editing, so we can change the font sizes, change the actual fonts themselves. We've got a lot more values in here of what we would like to use. But again, we can add repeating tables in here as well if we need to now. When we add an image, we can specify now whether it's coming from a file, for example, like this. If I just pick something here, there we go, Preact logo, you now get the preview on here as well. So like we saw on the email attachments, we get to see a preview of this. You can see the width and the height. It will tell you the size of this. Any alternate text you might want to add in here. You can change the alignment, but also if it's not from a file and it's being hosted, so they've said, oh, this is the screenshot, I've uploaded it here, they could just paste the web address in instead, so we're not taking up file storage as well. So a couple of changes they've made there. Click OK on that, and of course then if we add in any text, this is a test, you can see we've also got the ability to highlight certain areas as well. So I wanted to highlight that in green, I can. So again, add that as a note. It's just making it easier for the customer service agents, adding in specific notes and things like that where they might need to highlight certain areas and preview the files before they add it. And then the other one they've done as well, again, it was quite common to say, okay, when somebody picks up a case in somebody else's absence, they couldn't quite collectively get an understanding of what was going on with the case. So they had to go through one by one and expand. Oh, I've got to expand that, and I can see the email chain, and then they'll have to go through to the next one, expand what that phone call is about. What Microsoft have done now, again, is one of the enhancements, is this little option here. So it expands all by default, or it collapses all. So you can see everything's collapsed. Expand that, and now we just scroll through the timeline and we're getting a bit of a picture of every single thing, which is expanded, all of those notes, phone calls, attachments, and everything else. Just moving on from this, very similar to the way we add the media to the notes and stuff on the timeline. Just going to click over here into the knowledge articles. So it's quite common for administrators to have created these articles that we can be used sort of linked to cases in the past. Some of these articles are displayed through customer portals so people can self-serve and find their own answers to problems. Microsoft have improved the design basically, so we can have headers, title headers. We can now anchor certain points of this. We can set anchors on the actual body of the text if we need to. We can do, let's just put some text in here. We can do left or right text as well. Very similar to what we saw on the timeline where we add an image. Instead of adding the physical image like we had to before, again, storage costs and everything else, we could add where the image is hosted online, the URL, and set some parameters around that as well. But I think the one that's really useful is the ability to add media. So if this is a nice how-to video and we've embedded this in our portal, I think it's a lot easier for people to answer their own problems following an instruction on a video than it would be just reading an article along, like that's just been published in text basically. So yeah, nice new features on that. And then just moving on from that, if I just click over here and move into the field service hub, there's a few nice features that they've added, spent a bit of time around in field service. So the first one of these is probably the functional locations. So we've always had assets in field service. This is a way of seeing, a list of all of our assets, and if we add serials numbers against this, we can. But it was always linked to just one location. So we might have a CCTV camera, for example, at this location here. When we get to that location, this might be a TV or CCTV camera. We wouldn't know whether it's at the front desk, whether it's on the third floor, second floor, out in the car park, or wherever. This is where functional locations fill the void. So you can see again, Tesco's head office. I'll just click into here. On here, we've got assets and locations. Now it gives us a bit of a hierarchical tree as to where things are. So we can see Tesco's head office. Below that, they are the parent account to Tesco's in Abingdon and Tesco's in Amersham. But against the actual account, if we just collapse that, you can see and expand that, we'd have our own assets on each of these different site locations themselves. You can see in here, you can edit the location, we can add a new asset to that or add an existing one to that, and new location as well. But even at head office, we've got a car park, we've got a first floor, ground floor, second floor. You can see Tesco Bulldog as well as another one there, but they've got their own assets, so we can expand that area. So now effectively we've got 2 car parks. Well, we know car park here is linked to head office. This car park here is at Tesco's Bulldog. When we're in the car park at head office, for example, we can go like that. We've got bike storage. That could be an asset. On the first floor, we've got female toilets, male toilets. Within each of these, we might have some assets of ours that we are maintaining. It's just going to help the field service engineer. When he gets to location, it's not just a latitude and longitude location he's getting to. It's going to give him a real true reading about exactly where on site this asset is now being held. Again, you can see here, show assets. If you just do that, it just expands all by default. So you can see within the car park, we've got a ticket machine and a bike storage. In the bike storage, we've got an electronic bike lock. So these are all the individual assets that would have been sat over here initially, but now it's not just linked to one location. We've got multiple locations against this. That's a really nice feature to have that's, a few people have been screaming out for in the past. And then the second feature is inspections. So Microsoft have now added inspections table. We just click over here under settings. You can see we've now got this inspections area down here on the left hand side. You can see I've just got one inspection that I've created. So the purpose behind this is basically where it's quite a common concept that people sell something. So they might sell a service agreement. Before we can actually put a contract in place, we need to get one of the field engineers to go out and inspect the area, for example. So they might, like this fire inspection, we might need to go and see how many fire doors they've got, how many fire alarms they've got, and then obviously make some advisories on there. And then maybe we say, we need to put in a weekly maintenance agreement or a monthly maintenance agreement. So it was never really available in there, and we had to do that with a work order. Now adding in inspections fills that void as well. So just show you what the inspections look like, just click into this. First thing to note when we go in here is it's very much a drop and drag exercise. So it's really quick and easy for the administrators to basically create these reports. You can see I've just added 4 fields on this one. I've given it a name. The first value here, I've just given it a few drop down values. You can go in here and edit these. If we deactivate this, this is a published inspection. But you can see on the right hand side, we can just sort of add date fields, number fields. We can look up other information. We can add files in here. So I've got a date field in here, a couple of tick boxes here, and then obviously, show file in here. So we'd build the report out just by doing drop and drag from here on the right hand side. You can have as many of these reports as they need to in the system. One thing they can also do, if they don't want to use it on a mobile phone and capture the details, is they can do export to PDF. So up here, if we export this to PDF, it's an interactive PDF. So if their preference is just to have this PDF on a tablet or a phone device, whatever, you can see they can just go through and fill in all of the same details. They can fill in the date, fill in all these other details here, smoke detector, and then they could save this or they can download it, upload it, wherever they need to. That's one variation of using that, which a few people have said about, or they can just print it straight off and give it to the client if they're there. And of course, once we've done that as well, if I just flick over here and just show you what it would look like now on the field service mobile app, just click on here. Just drag that over. This is just on my mobile phone now. So you can see this is typically what the work order would look like. The field engineer would then find their service task relating to this. So what have I called it? Fire inspection. You can see the one on the bottom there, fire inspection, has the little inspection report icon on the right hand side. They'll go into this and then you can see they can then access this inspection report. So we can start filling it out then, those values. So I'll say it's a fire extinguisher report. Let's pick a date. There we go, today's date. Duct probes. Obviously you can see then choose files. We can clear the files that are already in there. I've just uploaded one there. And of course they can then just scroll across, mark this as complete and click save. And providing I've added all of the fields in, it will allow me to save it. So we'll just save that, and then that will then end up back into Dynamics. So we'll just click off of here. Just go back into the work order. Then when we look at the service tasking here, we go into that individual report, then anyone who's in the office can then see all of those responses back in against the system, against it in here. So yeah, inspections are a really nice feature to have as part of field service, but they've also made a few changes to the marketing solution and the way customer journeys look and render as well. So I'll just flick over here to marketing, click into the app here, click on customer journeys, and we'll just create a new journey here. So as you can see, when we first create a new journey, there's a lot more templates in here. The design of it looks slightly different as well. You can see you can pick like a customer onboarding journey, you can pick a blank template. If I just pick this one here, for example, all it does is it gives you a nice base template to work with. They've made a lot of improvements to the designer, whereby you can see you've got start points, end points. Are you choosing an email? Who's your audience? Weight conditions. We've got split conditions as well. They've given us this option to zoom in, zoom out, increase the space you've got, so you've got more space to work with your template. And obviously, if you go and do something, let's just say we add an audience in here, you can see segments. Somebody inclusive on this segment or exclusive on this segment, and then you could have further conditions as well. So if I just pick a segment in this scenario, somebody who's just been added to the database as a new contact today, for example, so target audience. If I made a mistake, then you can see you've got an undo button here now as well. So I can click on undo and it takes me back. Same as if I want to go back forwards again, click on the little forward option here and it will add those back in. He says, just quickly pick that again. And there we go, one of those. And just save that. So we've now got, a target audience here. This is what's going to happen. You can click on here, then you can see there's a few different options in here. So, what do you want to do? Obviously, part of this template that we've just picked is to send an email. We can click on choose an email here, pick an email template. There you go, newsletter. And then obviously what you get to see in here, where you had to then just work out what it was based on, knowing the marketing emails you had set over here previous, it now gives you this little preview window into it. So you can see it. You can then click on the little pop out here so you can see it in its full entirety sort of thing. You can say, okay, yeah, that's the email I'm looking at sending. Close that off. And then you can see all the other details around it. Now there's a few other things that we can do in here as well now. So if we look at dependencies, you can add some items in against this. Just click add item. Is it certain page? Is there an event section on that template that we need to look at and reference the schedule? So you can disable the automatic scheduling, and then it just turns off all those things. But based on previous insights, you might realize that actually it's best to send this on a Monday or a weekend or something like that. So again, if you click all days, it will highlight all days. If you click weekends, it will just highlight 2 weekends. If you pick weekdays, you get the principle, don't you? So you can just do all of this in here. And then again, mornings, afternoons, or it doesn't really matter all day long when we're going to send this email. So you might just want to say, okay, send it on a weekday in the morning. So that'll go from 6 o'clock till 12 o'clock, like that. And then, does this email have an expiry? So if it does, then we can set that up as well in here. So as you can see, a couple of nice things in there. This is what somebody was crying out for, previewing the template that you're picking in your journey previously. And then of course we've said, okay, based on that, we've got this weight condition. We are then going to say, okay, again, wait to a certain time or wait for a duration, which is what was always here before. Based on this, if you didn't want this, you can copy it, move it somewhere else, you can delete it. You've also got this option here to click this and drag it, and you can move it around, or you can drop it in the dustbin down here. You can say stick it there, stick it there. So if you've spent a bit of time doing this, you can move them around and copy them. Equally, off the back of that, you might do a split action. So you can say, actually, based on that, split that out, and 50% are going to go down this route, 50% down this route. Of course, you can increase or decrease this accordingly. So 53% as opposed to that, 68 versus 32. Distribute evenly. Again, it'll just resets it to 50%. So it's again a couple of nice little things you can use for the split thing in here. What we can also then do on this wait condition, if I just say, okay, if then condition, so we can click in here and we can say, okay, based on that, what is the source? So if I pick the template that we've previously picked on the email that we've sent them, and then a condition. So if it's been opened, fine, we can just do, okay, if it opens, then go and send this email, do this down here. The other benefit of this is instead of just saying, okay, something's been opened, you could have negativity. So you could say, okay, based on a hard bounce or a soft bounce, then no, take it down this route. Equally, if we can say, okay, well, it's been opened, we might have a further condition to this to say, okay, add a condition where actually that email has had maybe a link clicked on or has been delivered, you know. So if I say a link has been clicked and then I save that, so we're now actually saying, okay, wait a month, and based on the email that we're sending, that they've physically opened it and they've clicked on a link, then go and do something over here. Failing that, go down this route and do this. Again, just to show you a couple of those other things in there, we've got a wait for condition, we've got a wait until a certain date condition. Based on that, we can then go and create a lead, we can run a workflow in the system, we can create some activities, you know, and then add them to an event, or we can send them a marketing form and things like that as well. So yeah, just a nice new look and feel customer journey. We've got a swim lane in here as well. You can have a couple of these in, so you can have a few parallel journeys on the same journey itself. So it could be that somebody fails up here, we then add them to, you know, a segment, and then that segment's part of this swim lane and it goes down a different route type scenario. So yeah, really nice new look and feel. I think Microsoft have listened to what everybody's been asking and they've added those in. Obviously the Insights tab and everything else is the same. The general option up here, you know, just when's it sending, the time and date, who it's going from, are there suppression lists, all of this is pretty much the same as it was previous. And then the other benefit we've got as well is once we've set those journeys up and we've set them to be live and everything else, if I just click on this live journey that's already live here, you can see it gives us a nice little visual in here as well. So if and when we set this up, you know, we sent an email, if I click into this, it shows us on a nice visual over here the percentage of those that were processed. So based on what we sent here, we sent an email and actually we sent that to 24 people. 24 people received that. We then had a wait condition in here. 21 people were processed because they didn't open something and they went down this route based on what we said here, and obviously then 3 are still in process now. So you can see the split there of being, you know, if I just click into there, you can see processing still in play, it's 12.5% as opposed to the 87.5% that actually, you know, didn't do something and went down a different route type scenario. But it's just to show you that you've got some nice little visuals and analytics against each of these stages once it's then actually been added in. So yeah, I hope you'll agree. A couple of nice features in there for the marketing and the customer journey side of things. So if I just click over here now, I'm going to give you a quick overview of customer voice. So again, for those of you not familiar, this was originally Voice of the Customer. It then got renamed to Microsoft Forms, and now it's Customer Voice, but it's using a bit of AI technology and sort of analysing sentiment. So if I just click over here and just give you a brief overview of this now. This is where you can set up what we call sort of projects. So projects will be, you know, your surveys. So sets of questions that you would have for different reasons. You'd see them all in here. You can click on all projects, and from the main screen here, we can click new project. Once you click new project, then you will see a template like this. And it will give you some predefined, you know, templates that you might choose to use, periodic customer feedback, order delivery, service visits, etc. Or you can create your own from blank. So I've just picked the customer service feedback one for now. This is what it will look like. So this is for a travel agency that are asking their customers a set of questions. The top question here, number 1, is sort of a net promoter score question. And you can see just on the right hand side, we can actually then score this. So based on the net promoter score, based on, you know, value 1, you know, if this rating drops below a certain value, we can set an alert to actually, you know, follow up with this person if we need to. We can then analyze sentiment as well based on what our customers giving us based on different types of questions we can be asking. And obviously customer feedback, the CSAT score as well. We can capture all of that in here. So once you've set all your surveys up and you've set up your sentiment and you've set up some alerts as well, based on certain parameters, do something, perform an action, we've then got the ability to then send these out via, automation. So this could be off of a case closure in your system, send out a survey. Could be off of one order or one opportunity, send a survey. You can embed these in your website as well if you need to. You can stick them in an email so you can automatically just send them out, and then somebody can then click on the link and fill them out from there. Or alternatively, just paste and copy the link and stick that in somewhere else you need to. And once you've done that, obviously once you start getting your feedback coming in, then you can see here, this is a typical case. And on the timeline here, we can see customer voice survey responses. It's the customer feedback that we've sent out, as part of this case. We are then going to start analysing those responses coming back in. We can then do that if we go into the portal here, click into the actual travel agency survey that we've set up, for example, like that. And we can see total invites sent. We've sent this out 3,291 times, 1,490 have responded. So again, you can see a 45% response rate. Unread, read, open. It just gives you a bit of these a bit of an analysis around, how good this survey is and how, is it responsive basically, so is it something that we carry on using or do we need to tweak it? A couple of things you can then see as well. Obviously, when we go into this, you can look at the individual questions. So based on this, as a business customer, how satisfied are you with the overall response? And you can see the different values that we've got, and it's giving you the rating over there. Please tell us the reason for your rating as well. Based on their actual answers, you can see, the words here. So agents' knowledge is quite high. It's based on the response here having 17, as opposed to, say, the smaller word that we see, long wait times, which has only been, wrote 6 times, for example. So it's using a bit of AI technology like this and just giving you all the information. And then you can see, again, when we look at the alert summary, so where we set those alerts to say, okay, if the value is, say, below an 8, for example, if we're asking a question of between 1 to 10, then do something. You can see, like this one for Aidan Hunt, the reason for this service got rescheduled without notification. It's got an alert next to it because obviously he's clearly not happy. We can then click into this. You can, again, as you can see here, alerts by categories, alerts by products if you need to. We can then click into that, and then we can see Aidan's actual response over here, still waiting for a refund for cancelled flight from last month. Again, based on that, do we resolve it? Do we need to have a follow-up action? Can we do something else with this? So you can see it's a surveying tool that you get as part of your licensing with Dynamics. We need to turn it on. We need to set the trigger points, and we can gauge the customer feedback coming in. Whether this goes back in against Dynamics, whether this is used in a Power BI report, whether it's used in a Power App, we can use these survey responses anywhere in the CDS, Office 365 that we need to see them basically. So that's a quick overview of customer voice. Again, let us know if you've got any questions around this at the end. But just one of the other features I just quickly wanted to touch on that's been improved from the release wave 1 was the business card scanners. So if I just click over here and just show you a couple of changes to this now, just click here. When this got released originally, it's on quick create, whether it's contact or lead. It's quite useful for sales teams just to go on, quickly create a lead like this. You can see it's not in your face as it used to be. It's a bit more, used to be a big box, took up half the form. Microsoft have changed it. So it's just on this little tab here. If you want to scan a business card, click on here. Obviously then specify a business card that you've already saved, or you can just, if you're on a mobile phone, use your camera in the normal manner. But a couple of features they've done, so obviously by collapsing that and having it just on that one section at the top, but they've also given us the ability now as well, because a few people said before in the past couldn't quite see the image when it came through. So you've got the ability to zoom in and out of the image as well once you've uploaded it. And of course you can see, it finds the data a lot better than it used to. It's now finding the email address, the name and everything else. It's filling all this in from the card. Again, just put something in here, save and close that, and that will go away and create a new lead for me. There you go. So it's just then taking me into that lead. I think that's most of the things that we had on the list of Release Wave 2 features. Most of them are available now as of October the 2nd. If you'd like to get in touch, and in terms of how we can turn some of those features on, please feel free to let us know, and we can use some of your managed service time if need be to help you with that. And I think I'm handing back to Warren now, or we're going to have a quick wrap up with some questions and answers, I believe.
Thanks, Martin. We hope you found that a useful tour to pick out some highlights from the 2020 Release Wave 2, which are already available. This release wave runs through until the end of March 2021, so you can expect to see more Microsoft announcements and more new features released between now and then, either with general availability or initially as a public preview. To receive updates about what's new in Dynamics, as well as information about Preact's own solutions for Dynamics 365, please follow our social accounts or visit our website to join our mailing list. We'll pause for just a moment before we respond to the questions which have come through, but if you are leaving us at this point, on behalf of Martin and myself, many thanks for your time today.